Hey, what's going on, everybody? Getting this news from CNN. So, some New York lawmakers want to ban protests outside of houses of worship after pro-Palestinian demonstration. A group of New York State lawmakers introduced a bill Wednesday to ban demonstrations outside of houses of worship and reproductive healthcare clinic days after a pro-Palestinian demonstration outside a prominent Manhattan synagogue led to criticism of Mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani's response. The bill would amend New York's existing buffer zone rules to create a specific ban against demonstrations taking place within 25 feet of the entrance to a house, worship, or clinic. The limit would also extend to parking lots, other entrances and driveways. State Assemblyman Michael Lasher, a Democrat who represents part of Manhattan's Upper West Side, told CNN it introduced the legislation party in response to an incident outside a Park East synagogue last month. And we are not saying you can't protest, Lasher said in the interview, but we're not even saying that you can't protest around a house of worship. We're saying that the needs of some reasonable space, though, that people who are trying to enter a house of worship or reproductive care facility can do so without having to run a gauntlet. Nearly 200 people gathered just steps outside the synagogue, chanting slogans including death to the IDF or Israel Defense Forces, and globalized the Intifada, an Arabic term for rebellion and a reference to Palestinian uprisings around the turn of the century. Some consider the call to violence. Mamdani was criticized for his response to the protests after he issued a statement condemned the language used by demonstrators. Also noted that the sacred spaces should not be used to promote activities in violation of international law. Reference to Israeli settlements, his team issued a follow-up statement making it clear of the mayor-elect's commitment to protecting Jewish spaces. And Mamdani's transition did not immediately respond to a request for comment about the proposed state legislation. And Lasher, who was running in a crowded primary to replace U.S. Representative Jerry Nadler, who expects the bill to stand up to legal scrutiny, specifically in questions of free speech and protest activity, which is protected by the First Amendment. And Lasher said that the bill would create a modest buffer zone allowing a balance between free speech and freedom of religion.